Coming off their first ever ACC road win against familiar foe Pittsburgh, tonight the Orange women are back home to seek their first ACC win streak against an unfamiliar opponent. The Clemson Tigers taking some lumps under a new head coach. It's orange on orange at the Carrier Dome. The Cuse at Clemson next. Syracuse stuck in a deep freeze. Single-digit temperatures outside the Carrier Dome, but nice and cozy inside as the Orange come back home to play 4 of their next 5 games starting tonight with the Clemson Tigers, who've lost 4 of their first 5 in the ACC. And hello again, everybody. Welcome inside the Carrier Dome. Great to have you here. Mark Larson alongside George Straub. Syracuse comes home after 2 straight road games, George, to face a team that's really going to test their patience.
Absolutely. Clemson really prides himself on defense. Syracuse has a good defense as well, but they really want to get it going on the offensive end. So it'll be a good test for them to see what they can do.
All right, we'll see what Syracuse can do against this team. The ACC is a tough road. The Orange off to a 2-3 start. Coach Q says it's not going to get any easier.
Everyone is getting stronger. When you look at the top recruiting classes in the country, they're all in this conference. So every team's getting better every year. So we have to keep up with that, continue to get great players and continue to work hard.
Well, one of the top recruits that Q's brought in, Brianna Butler, leads the nation in threes per game.
She's a great outside shooter, a very streaky shooter, who I think Coach wants her maybe to take it to the basket a little bit more, but when she's hot, watch out.
Brianna Day, freshman, with a double-double against Pittsburgh coming on.
Yeah, and I think it's really good for her to help Leary inside a little bit because, you know, going into the ACC, you really need some support inside, and she's been providing it lately.
All right, Clemson Tigers, 9 wins last year, 9 wins already this year under their new head coach, Audra Smith, but a very young team, and she's still looking for some consistency.
Is number one. You know, we've had some really great games. We have some really big wins. We had a great win over South Florida. We played very well against a very balanced Pittsburgh team. And then we kind of hit a rut. And we've just been kind of up and down, inconsistent, with some players stepping up on some nights and other players not. And we just need to get everybody in a rhythm and everyone on the same page.
Consistency in the starting lineup, George. To start off with, Chelsea Lindsay is the only Clemson player who started every game.
Yeah, and that tells you that they really need her to run the show, and they depend on her. But Coach feels like she needs to be just a little more assertive, and, you know, we'll see how it goes against that pressure defense of Syracuse.
The Tigers dead last in the league in scoring, but they do have one of the top scorers in Nikki Dixon.
Yeah, and she's a real stat stuffer. She leads in points, steals, and charges. They're probably going to look to her whenever they get in a jam to score for them.
Tigers 3 road wins this season, but they've lost 6 of their last 7 ACC road games, including both this year. The Tigers and the Orange for the first time in the Cuse when we come back.
Syracuse University women's basketball on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Drivers Village. Visit driversvillage.com today. And by Nice and Easy Grocery Shop.
And we're back inside the Carrier Dome, where Syracuse is 8-1 this season, winning their game by an average of 25 points. They are 21-2 here at the Carrier Dome the last 2 seasons. Starting lineups brought to you as always by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. The same starting 5 for all 19 games this season. Brittany Sykes 10th in the league in scoring, 17 points per game. Shaq Leary got shut out against Pittsburgh. No points, 4 fouls against the Panthers as she tries to bounce back. For Clemson, it's the 11th different starting lineup for the Tigers. Jamison Myers, in the starting lineup for Charmaine Tay, the number 2 scorer and rebounder for the Tigers, did not make the trip to Syracuse due to a death in the family. So the Tigers will go with another brand new lineup tonight. Head coach is Coach Q in his 8th year. Quentin Hillsman, 157 wins at Syracuse, 6 straight postseasons. He's averaged 24 wins per season the last 4 years. So we've got Coach Q on one sideline and the Big A on the other sideline. Audra Smith, first year as the Clemson head coach. She spent 9 years at UAB, had 5 winning seasons. Went to 3 Final Fours in 4 years as a player at Virginia. She played with Dawn Staley, who is now the head coach at the University of South Carolina, just down the road from Clemson. They have already squared off once this season. She said, it's like a sister to me, good rivalry, like to go after each other, but very good friends, and a mentor also to her. She'd like to build the same type of program that Dawn Staley has built at South Carolina, and she's midway through season number 1 at Clemson. So it's Sykes and Jamison Myers jumping center. Sykes giving up quite a few inches. And neither one got a piece of the ball until they came
try
down.
That again. They say that the officials aren't as good at throwing those tips anymore because of the change of possession arrow. Not the young officials, but the old ones, because you just only do it once a game. Used to do it a lot.
Yeah, don't even do it at halftime anymore.
It was an art, but now it's just like get it over with.
All right, so the Tigers start out with the basketball, averaging just over 60 points per game. That's last in the ACC. Again, team that builds itself on defense, and the Orange coming up with a steal on the first possession. Shaquille Leary knocked it away. Now Leary gets it inside, tries to feed across the paint. It's kicked out of bounds by the Tigers.
Good help defense. McGillard there, just getting back and protecting on the weak side, because that was going to be a layup on the other end. The Olaf play.
Sykes inside, leaping over Jamison Myers. Gets it out to Butler. Leary, the one-handed rebound, and missed the layup. Jamison Myers had it taken away, and Sykes finally knocks it down. The Orange, the number 2 offensive rebounding team in the league, George. And
kept it alive. I was going to say, that's right on cue, because they kept it going until they got a nice shot. There's pressure with defense from Syracuse right away. Full court.
Orange averaging 18 offensive rebounds per game. They score 14 second chance points per game. And they've got the first 2 tonight.
Trying to solve this zone, figure out how they want to attack it. They don't look
5
really
to shoot. I don't know if they know it. Chancey Dunn will take it and get the roll. Go to the grad student, Chancey Dunn.
I think they got lucky a little bit on that one. Just a quick break to the ball right at the end. That shot clock was right down there.
Talking to Audra Smith yesterday, she said they have faced a few zones, but none quite like Syracuse's. So they were trying to prepare for that. Leary turns on Jamison Myers and scores. A much bulkier Shakia has her first bucket again after getting shut out against Pittsburgh. A good start for Leary.
Yeah, it's tough to drop down on her with the good outside shooters Syracuse had. So you would think you might want to collapse and help on her, but watch out for the 3.
That's Nikki Dixon, their top scorer. Nothing but net on the 3 ball.
That ripped in that, didn't it?
Only a 28% shooter from out there, but she's been hot. Averaging 20 points a game in ACC play. 13 for the season.
See, that time a little more help. Butler's girl decided to jump back in and sag down and help on the post. And it was curious when we had the foul, so we're going to turn around and see what would happen. The kick out was right there for Butler to hit the 3.
Now Coffey throws it away. Gaillard will try a 3, and she'll hit it. Jordan Gaillard from the same city, Alpharetta, Georgia, as Nikki Dixon. Different high school. And the 2 Peach State natives have hit their first shots. 8-4 early lead for the Tigers. Timeout, Coach Q.
For a team trying to find itself, a couple of threes really helps a lot, doesn't it? And you see right here, cross-court pass, which is usually an ill-advised, dangerous pass, and the Giller hits the three, and that caused a quick timeout by Coach Q. And you got to wonder if he's upset with someone because he brought in 2 people, and you know, when you're pressing full court, that's what happens is you leave gaps open up. And I don't know if you could really put the blame on anybody there, because they almost had the cross-court pass. And Clemson was really fortunate to get that ball cross-court and get it up.
Gaillard, good bloodlines. Her father, Jerry Gaillard, was the starting wide receiver on Clemson's 1981 National Championship football team. So Jordan carrying on the family legacy. Gives the Tigers an 8-4 lead. Taylor Ford in quickly off the bench. Leary offensive putback after the Ford miss.
She's establishing herself early inside as something that they're not going to be able to stop with the way it's going right now.
Cornelia Fondren also in off the bench for Coach Q. Fondren, really number 2 point guard, although she replaced Sykes in this case. So her and Coffey both out there. Gaillard again, deep three.
Looking pretty good.
Wow, they start out 3 for 3 outside the arc.
That got somebody in trouble last time, but this time she did it again, so it's causing a ton of problems for the defense right now.
Leary up fake, goes to the basket. Offensive board again by Ford, and they've scored
all their points inside.
Yeah, all their points inside, and 3 of the buckets off second chances.
Quick release by Ford on that. I mean, she didn't have that ball in her hands very long at all.
And that pass sails over the hand of Jamison Myers and out of bounds.
They just don't look like, Clemson doesn't look like a team that wants to get it inside and work it inside. So I think probably they've been scouted that way too, that they're going to, by the coaching staff, that they're going to get the ball around the perimeter. So you really got to stretch that zone out, you know, put a hand in their face when they shoot.
These are 2 teams that don't turn the ball over an awful lot. 2 of the best in the conference in fewest turnovers. Another offensive rebound. They had a 3rd chance at that one, but Leary couldn't hit.
Two nice point-blank chances.
Now Taylor Ford coming up a little bit gimpy, gets back for the steal. And still kind of wincing in pain as she runs back down the other way.
Yeah, she's trying to run it off. Boy, I think Leary got away with a little double step there. There's another putback for you.
Fourth basket off an offensive rebound for Syracuse, as they are just clobbering Clemson on the glass. Tigers have hit their first 3 3-pointers and still clinging to the lead here.
Well, they've got Gaillard out of the game, so you know you've taken away one of your big threats so far.
Dunn kind of lost her balance going through the lane. Throws up the wild shot. Now Fondren, open lane, got fouled. And Cornelia Fondren will head to the free throw line.
Got to take it. They gave it to her and she took it.
So the Orange battling back from an early deficit here. The Tigers come out smoking, but Syracuse can take the lead at the free throw line when we come back. Syracuse trailing by just a point as they head to the free throw line. Just about 5 minutes into this ACC contest. The Orange hit the 3rd pole tonight of the ACC season, trying to get back to 3-3. Coach Q, his team has faced some of the tougher teams already in the conference. They hosted Duke here. They played at Maryland.
Hey, well, strength of schedule, they're still ranked, what, 15th?
They're 16th in the RPI.
16th strength of schedule as opposed to the poll. So, you got to agree with it. They've had some great wins and some tough losses against good teams.
Yeah, 2 non-conference losses for Syracuse, both against top 25 teams on the road. They played 5 ranked teams. They beat one of them, Texas A&M, number 12 at that time, in the championship game of the Paradise Jam. So this team has stepped up the non-conference, and now you get to the conference schedule, and it's a ranked team, it seems, almost every other night.
Tough conference. Syracuse with that full court pressure, trying to get that trap, the zone trap. Here's what we've seen a lot early, is they're whipping the ball around the perimeter, Clemson, looking for the 3. They've been successful with the 3 ball. And not really much happening down on the baseline or inside against this zone. So it'll be interesting to watch if they make any adjustments on how they want to attack Syracuse's zone.
This is Kelly Gramlich, their 3-point specialist, gives it up. They had to shoot. Petaway just kind of threw it up at the shot clock buzzer, no good. Butler left alone, can't do that.
Nothing to it, huh? Oops, excuse me, I think I'll take the 3.
She turned and no one was in front, so Brianna let it go.
That's the kind of shooter she is. If she gets on track, she's just like unconscious out there.
Number 1 of the nation in 3s made per game. That's her first.
She's so strong. I mean, it's such an easy flick of the wrist, that 3.
Now Gramlich answers, rattles home her first 3. The Tigers come out 4 for 4 outside the arc.
I think this is like a punch in the jaw to Syracuse, at least this 3-point shooting by Clemson. I think it's kind of a surprise, really.
So the Orange still up 1, as that 3 broke a little bit of a Syracuse run. And now Brianna Day coughs it up inside.
Too much dribbling there. I mean, when you're putting the ball on the floor that many times inside, it's not going to be good.
Inside, and the first points in the paint for Clemson. Sade Chapman turns and scores. Ford trying to go baseline, and she is fouled. Taylor Ford also a double-double at Pittsburgh.
And good movement of the ball here. This was the end result of whipping the ball around the perimeter by Syracuse. And when the defense is trying to react to that and get back, that's a good attack point, which is right there, to try to beat them on the baseline, because the defender's running out at it, and you can get by them. If they're stationary, it's hard to get by them.
Butler missing from the corner. Now Day battling inside for the rebound.
Excellent opportunity right there.
Missed the putback. Brianna Day, 10 rebounds against Pittsburgh.
Too easy. Sometimes you find yourself right there, and it's like, oh, don't choke it. And then they do.
Quinata Petaway gets loose inside and scores.
Twice in a row, that defense is been broken down inside. You think it's a difference with Leary out of the game? Does it make a difference? Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now Sykes with the up fake got past Petaway and drew another foul call. That is the 4th team foul whistled against Clemson. Syracuse has not fouled yet.
They're starting to pile them up, trying to make the dribble. I mean, we really haven't heard Calder much at all this game. She hasn't got many touches or opportunities, and I think that's her first intent, is to get the ball on the floor and get to the basket when she gets it. Different little formation for the out-of-bounds play by Syracuse. It's kind of a new look for an out-of-bounds play.
Sykes alone out top. They're giving her that 3-point shot. She's just 1 for 7 on the year outside the arc.
I find it funny in out-of-bounds play. Some teams attack and score right inside, and other teams are just reduced to throwing it out to half court. Isn't that strange when you watch different approaches to it?
Brianna Day tries to muscle inside and scores. And
found the angle on the glass. I don't know. Didn't look like she had much room to do it.
Doesn't have a lot of weight, but she's trying to throw it around in there.
Makes up for it in height. Long arms, really long. Bother inside shooters.
Part of a twin sister combination, freshman out of Raleigh.
Let's see what happens here. Okay. They didn't really look for it inside there. Still went back in. It's a double team. Tough place to put that ball right there. It was an automatic double team. That was like a quarterback in the NFL that throws it into double coverage. You throw it right down where somebody's already trapped. Not good.
All right, last touch by Syracuse, so it'll be Clemson basketball when we come back. Just under 12 to play first half, and a tight one at the Dome. Good night to bring your daughter to the basketball game. Syracuse hosting Clemson.
You know, and that's exactly what will help this program out, is to bring the youngsters here, the young girls, come out and see high-level basketball. The parents, the local coaches, you got to bring them out. And from there, you build your fan base, I guess.
Well, Syracuse enjoying a huge advantage on the board so far, but Clemson's hit all 4 of its three-point shots.
Yeah, well, that's great for Clemson, and I think it might be, like I said earlier, maybe a bit of a surprise to Syracuse. It really dents the zone a little bit, and it hurts their pride in the zone.
Pettaway, little baby hook, gets the friendly roll. And Pettaway gets her first 2. Kick out to Slim in the far corner, left it short. And that time, no second chance for Syracuse. Dixon on the run, plus the foul. Nikki Dixon to the free throw line.
Boy, you know, up the court quickly, and a nice left hand, switches it over to the left hand, absorbs the contact, and has the concentration to make the finish. You know, Clemson showed some great offense here early on.
Yeah, it's a team averaging 60 a game, George. They're way ahead of that.
Yeah, we're talking about it's going to be a defensive-oriented game for them to win, and, well, there goes that theory.
Yeah, that shows you what we know.
Yep.
A pace for 90 points at this point.
Exactly. In the Carrier Dome, where people say you're not supposed to be able to shoot well from the outside, a lot of myths are dying in front of us here.
And a turnover committed by the freshman Peterson. Now, Briaday comes from behind and tried to knock it loose.
Good hustle. She almost got it.
Brianna's twin sister had almost a dead look-alike. Bria now manning the middle of that zone. And another 3 goes down for Dixon there. 5 for 5. Dixon is 2 for 2 from out there.
Pressure defense, half court trap here, 1-2-2, I believe. Syracuse trying to solve it, and then see if they probably drop it right inside again, but maybe not.
Clemson out to a 9-point lead. Day off glass, can't get it to go.
Nice pass, and a really nice shot, just didn't drop.
That's a deep 3 for Gramlich, just a little too far out.
You gotta be kidding me.
And Butler, a nice save, and the Orange finally corral it.
She had to heave that. That wasn't a comfortable shot. That was a heave.
Brianna Butler off on the 3 try. The Orange 1 for 5 outside the arc, and now a foul committed by Peterson as she slowed down Dixon.
Well, they got Syracuse. They got Syracuse a little frustrated here, and you see the diving foul. That's an easy call. Even you and I could make that call if we had a whistle. No need for us to use the monitor to make that call.
Yes. Well, it's quite a little run put together here by Clemson after Syracuse rallied back to take the lead.
you get the feeling watching this that Clemson's offense busting up the zone right now is frustrating Syracuse, oddly enough, on the offensive end. They're hurrying their shots. They're not getting good looks the last 3 or 4 trips. That can happen to a team's psyche.
Now starting 5 back out there for Syracuse. Shaquille Leary in the middle. 8 to shoot for the Tigers. Open
Dangerous.
player, Petaway.
Totally. They're just picking apart the zone, Mark. I mean, it's just too easy right now. What's their shooting percentage about?
Yeah, last we checked it was 70%, so I think it's higher than that.
Exactly. I was going to say 3/4. It's 75% or more.
And now foul called inside as the Tigers have extended the lead to double figures.
A little different OB play right here. That's what you want to look for when you get the big girl in there. See that? That's
the layup.
That's the difference what we talked about. Some teams seem to get it in and score. The old quick drop play into the center. Nice job by Syracuse on that play. Clemson's done a really nice job against this zone. They don't seem to be upset by it at all.
Nice feed inside, plus the foul. Jamison Myers the finish.
Dixon's a player.
Yeah, Nikki Dixon, beautiful little wraparound feed.
She's a player. She's got a quick first step. She's shown she can shoot the 3. Nice vision on that little pass.
Well, not that quick. The video was sped up there a little bit.
Oh, but you,
yes, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, she made a quick play there. I mean, and the pass was like, you know, real boom, just instinctive.
Naila Jamison Myers, sophomore from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Had a double-double last time out against Wake Forest. And she completes a 3-point play. So 31 points on the board with still 8.5 minutes left in the half for Clemson. Now Leary surrounded by Tigers. Wide open shot for Butler, and she hit it.
A great equalizer. But it's made, with Leary in the game, it's made a difference. They've seemed like a much calmer, confident offensive team with her in there because she gets it and makes things happen.
And she's making something happen on the defensive end.
Well, she got nailed for a double dribble though. Now she's asking, what? I don't understand. It's kind of, I think she's got a legitimate gripe there because it was more of a fumble than a double dribble. And you can fumble it and dribble it again.
So the steal and the turnover for Leary. Now open player inside off the inbound. Jamison Myers again.
Just a series of defensive miscues by what's happening on the defensive end for Syracuse. Coach, I don't think is going to be real happy about this defense at halftime.
Butler now for 3, and she knocked that down. And Big A, Coach Smith, is wondering why her team would not cover Brianna Butler.
You can't. How can you miss her? Leading the country. There's another thing you got to say that she's leading the country in shooting from the 3-point range. We got to find her. We can't miss her.
So Butler's got 3 threes. Jamison Myers now another layup inside.
Carving up the zone right now, and now that shooting percentage must be up around 80% now.
And they're just getting easy ones, so that's why.
Yeah, and they're all quick passes and quick cuts, quick slants inside, and the zone's not shifting with the inside cutters. That's a little bit off there. You can see she didn't have her balance. She was back on her heels that time. A little bit of a force.
And now the other way, a block called against Syracuse. And that'll bring us to another official's timeout. A little more than 7 minutes left in the first half. And the Orange involved in a shootout with an unlikely opponent, Clemson. Back at the Carey Dome, the Clemson Tigers, averaging 60 points a game on the season, have erupted here in the first half, George. They average 4 3-point makes per game. They've already got 5.
And they've all looked good. I mean, they've all ripped the net like that.
5 out of 6 outside the arc.
I think this is, I keep saying I know, but I think this is a jolt to Syracuse's pride right now to have these threes raining on them like this. And they're just awesome. I mean, coach has got to be happy. It's one of those games, if you're Clemson, you don't want the half to end. There it is. 3.9 a game, and so far 5. Still got 7 minutes to go. You know, at the rate they're going, they could still knock down a couple more and have doubled their game output in 1 half.
They're shooting 78% from the floor, 14 of 18, perfect at the free throw line, and 83% from three-point range. A dream first half in Clemson's first trip to the Carrier Dome. First meeting between these two teams since they played in the Bahamas almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, they have taken a liking to Central New York so far.
She's trying to get Sykes involved here. Again, we said earlier, her game really is more taking it to the basket with that good quickness and athletic ability she has. And this is a pretty good deal. She gets fouled, but got to make the free throws, as always. I mean, to me, it seems like as long as she keeps herself under control, that she can get a good shot or draw a foul just about any time she wants when she's on her game.
Sykes just 2 points so far in the first half, and struggled a little bit the last 5 games in the ACC. She's been in single digits 3 times. Just 11 points per game in ACC play, 17 points per game for the season. She's got 3 here in the first half. Lead now at 11.
You can see that one was going to be a huff. They're bound to cool down. I mean, the law of averages says they got to cool down.
Butler lost the ball before she could release another 3.
She tried to step back. She lost it, worried about the step back. Sometimes you get too enamored with the 3, and you might as well just take the 2 and be happy with the open shot.
Syracuse now 10 offensive rebounds. That's more rebounds than the Tigers have as a team.
And there's, again, Leary, just, boy, I'll tell you, she has been the steadying influence on the offensive end for him. When she gets in there, she's either going to get it inside for a good shot or a kick out, or she's going to get your rebound like that. Calm things down.
They've scored 11 second chance points in the game. Syracuse came out really making a living on the offensive glass, but they have not been able to slow down the Tigers.
Well, they've tried to press them and force turnovers, but the press has upped the tempo, and in some cases they've broken Syracuse's press and found an open shot. But they've also hurt Syracuse in the half-court setup offense too.
A couple of free throws for Leary.
Now a half-court press by Syracuse. 1-2-2 maybe.
Leary with 8 points. Lead cut to 9 now. A little more than 6 minutes left in the half. Free throw line jumper, mostly no good. At the Carrier Dome, Syracuse, Clemson. ACC women's basketball. Mark Larson, George Straub here. Glad you can be with us tonight.
Well, if you're Syracuse, you get this down to 3 or 5 points at halftime, you got to consider it a win at this point.
Nice little pick and roll, give and go. Leary and Butler, the 2-person game, and the Orange have cut it to 7.
Maybe this half-court press right here will bother Clemson, take them out of their offensive rhythm.
And now the Tigers throwing it around the perimeter, 5 to shoot for Lindsay. Double clutch shot, Leary had the rebound and
quick tie up.
The held ball. Possession arrow in favor of Syracuse.
Well, they've suddenly gone cold, but missed their last 3 or 4 shots here at Clemson. And the Syracuse defense has perked up a little bit and forced them into some tough shots that always help that make that shooting percentage drop when you force them into tough ones.
Peterson gets to the basket and rolls it in at the 5-minute mark. The Orange have cut it to 5 and a timeout called by Audra Smith.
Looked a little bit like Tyler Ennis on that move.
Yes, she did. She absolutely did.
A little Ennis here with this little stretch to the basket. Watch. A little stretch at the end. Boy, that looks just like him. That's the way he does it.
All right, so the Orange now have cut into that Clemson lead that had reached.
Hey, I said halftime, if Syracuse would get the 5 at half, 3 or 5 at halftime,
Yep.
they'd probably be satisfied. Not going into the game thinking that way, but the way it worked out. Now, on the other hand, if you're Clemson, you got to think really wanted to sneak in there with the, would love to have taken that 10-point lead into the locker room, but doesn't look like it's going to happen for them now.
Yes, the Orange have scored the last 7 after Clemson had extended the lead to 12.
And I think Syracuse is liking this half-court trap. Right there, going to like it a lot.
They forced the turnover, 3-on-1. Sykes to Butler, bumps. And she'll go to the free throw line, and that is the Orange bread and butter, forcing turnovers. They have averaged 20 forced turnovers a game, and they've scored 22 points off of them. Syracuse leading the league in turnover margin.
I like the way Brittany Sykes took that ball to the left to draw the defender, all the attention over to the left. She knew she had her running mate Butler with her over on the right and set her up nicely.
Brianna Day back in the lineup to replace Shaq Leary.
Let's keep an eye on that now. You got to give Leary, you got to give her a rest, you got to give her a breath. See if Syracuse maintains that presence that they've done when she's in the game.
Butler game high score now with 11. Syracuse has scored 9 straight points to cut it to 3. Mosley misfiring on the layup. Tigers got a great shot.
Yep, they did get it inside pretty easily.
Butler foot on the line, long 2. Didn't follow the shot. Now Dixon against Peterson.
Nice move.
Nikki Dixon now with 11.
She's a pretty confident player. I like her game.
Well, she breaks the 9-0 Syracuse run.
From the Clemson side, that was much needed.
Long 3 for Ford, straight on. Taylor Ford has 7. And now Syracuse within 2. It's a
great run.
12-2 run for the Orange. And it's really been fueled on the defensive end.
Well, ever since they instituted that half-court trap, they seem to have changed the whole attitude of the defense.
Taylor Ford coming off a 10-point, 12-rebound performance at Pitt, knocks down the 3, and the Orange are within 2. College hockey coming your way on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel tomorrow night as we bring you Colgate and Clarkson. The Raiders red hot, 5 straight wins as they play host to the Golden Knights. In one place you can watch it right here, Friday at 7. Here at the Carrier Dome, just under 4 minutes left. The Orange on a 12-2 run have cut Clemson's lead to 2. And you see their hot start. They were shooting 78%. And have cooled off. I mean, when you come out that hot, George, you can't go anywhere but
exactly
down.
I was thinking you were reading my mind. I mean, you just want to level off. If you could level off and not panic when they're not going to drop. You know, almost got to be in the huddle when you're coaching and say, look, we know we're not going to shoot that lights out. Don't get upset if you miss a few. Don't get down on yourself. Just keep going. Just keep firing.
And the turnover as the Tigers throw it out of bounds. That is just their 6th turnover. They are on pace to set a school record for fewest turnovers per game.
Well, right now they look like it's getting to them a little bit. The Syracuse pressure defense a little bit.
Ford wide open. And Day offensive putback, and the Orange have tied it up.
Great rebound. I mean, she got that at the top of her jump. See how high up with her arm? She was way up getting that rebound.
The 11th offensive rebound. The Orange have scored 15 second chance points in the first half. And now Day with a steal on the other end, and she's fouled. And that is team foul number 9 against Clemson. So free throws coming up for Brianna Day.
Here's that half-court pressure. There's the end of it. It gets it and gets fouled from behind.
And that is the 3rd foul on Naila Jamison-Myers, who has to leave the game. She started in place of Charmaine Tay. Again, the 2nd leading scorer and rebounder for Clemson, not available, did not make the trip because of a death in the family. So now Jamison-Myers in serious foul trouble.
And what did you say that the Clemson has had 10 different starting lineups?
This is the 11th.
The 11th,
starting
10
lineup
going
tonight.
into the game. Okay, so.
And Syracuse, 19 out of 19, same lineup.
Getting going in the 2nd or 3rd week of the ACC league, it's not a good time to be fooling around with your lineup like that. You know, that's not a good sign.
Couple of free throws for Day, and the Orange have retaken the lead. Boy, you just wanted them to get it down to, 3 or 5 deficit, George. They've gone a little bit better than that. Get
the ball in her hands. What we said pregame, when they need a basket, get it in her hands, because she's the one that's going to do what she just did. Dixon is really smooth.
It was a 16-2 Syracuse run to take the lead. Now Ford again open. She hits 37% of her threes, but was 1 for 9 coming in. Hit her first one tonight. She's missed her last 2 now.
It looked like the last 2 she was fading backwards again instead of up, on good balance like the first one.
Skip pass as we hit the 2-minute mark of the first half. Bramlett deep 3, back rimmed it. And Butler clears the rebound. The Orange looking to retake the lead. Inside Ford, and she's fouled.
I just think sometimes a nice baseline move right there. Syracuse doing a good job of getting it in where they can draw the foul now. You watch the men play and you watch the women play, and they love to just get too deep, I think, on the threes. You'd like them to toe up that line just a little more. Make it a little more comfortable, but they're capable.
Ford hits the first free throw. High school teammate of Brianna Butler at Nazareth High School, New York City. Ford, a sophomore from the Bronx.
I'd like to have someone do a statistical research for me sometime of how many lefties are not good shooters. Most lefties seem to have a nice stroke. And I put the jinx right on her there.
Yes, you did.
She throws up a brick, but
my son's a lefty, and I will say he is a pretty darn good shooter.
Most of them are. I mean, it just seems that way. Maybe it just looks better from the left-handed side. I don't know.
Some guy named Larry Bird. Decent. Wow. Thought that was an easy charge. But Sykes gets the benefit of the whistle.
One of the best lefty shooters I can remember in the NBA was Gail Goodrich from the Lakers. Again, Sykes wants to take the ball to the basket, and she's tough. She's tough to get in front of.
And they're going to change the call. I was going to say that was
a push-off.
Feedy under charge. She lowered her shoulder and kind of bowled over the Clemson player.
But you see, at the same time, it looked to me like the defender was moving all the way. So
interesting. Never seen him change a call like that.
No, never, because that's pure judgment. It's hard for one official to take your judgment away. I mean, if the official sees you stand on the line or do something that really can help you with a call, okay. But don't change my judgment. That's a tough one.
All right, so the Orange still up 1. Nice little backdoor cut. Chancey Dunn finishing it off, and Clemson retakes the lead. This is a Clemson team, George, that scored 41 points twice in a game this year. They've got 43 at the half. And Ford again, they're giving her that shot, and that's why, I guess. Missed her last 3 out there. Another offensive rebound.
The only thing that slowed them down has been that half-court trap. Other than that, they've done a pretty good job. Clemson has done a pretty good job attacking Syracuse's defense. Are they going to milk it to the end? What are they going to do? Are they going to hold it? Because
no, they can't kill it.
If I was them, I would certainly like to make sure I had the lead coming in at halftime. You know,
take 5 to shoot. Somebody's got to shoot it.
Not going to.
Count it up.
How did she get that off?
Just before the horn, and Chelsea Lindsay does not score a lot. That was a big bucket. 3-point lead now in the final seconds of the first half. What kind of shot the Orange can get. Peterson rounds the corner, 3 to shoot, just has to launch it. Syracuse will trail by 3 at the half. A team averaging 60 a game is on pace to score 90 here at the Carrier Dome.
Surprise.
They don't give up a lot of points, so they've given up 42, but this Clemson team offensively challenged, but looking very sharp in the first half and their first 20 minutes ever at the Carrier Dome. Tigers up by 3, halftime. Game number 6 on the ACC schedule.
And then there's a couple festivities down there, but then they got to come back right after the game's over at 1.
Yeah. So, can I have one of those, George? George, can I have one? Thanks. All right, football schedule. Maybe we'll talk about Duke coming up a week from Saturday.
Yeah.
The kind of plans they got.
Well, I think the other thing that's good is to get that football scheduled out as early as we did with the conference.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's been a long time since that has happened in this area.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right, we can't see that, of course. You will?
I got it somewhat memorized.
I know the first half of the season.
Yeah, that makes it look good. Then it looks like we got actually 7 home games.
I know the first half of the season you only leave the state once.
That's
Central
good.
Michigan.
Kind of like basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, except no road game to Hawaii. Yeah, probably. We'll probably hit it quickly. Yeah, first one. We did not expect a shootout, but that's what we have. The Tigers and the Orange filling at 45-42 here at the half. And we're now joined by Associate Athletic Director Herman Frazier. Thanks for being here, Herm.
It's really my pleasure, Mark. How are you this evening?
Well, pretty good. I wish we were going to Miami tomorrow, but beyond that, let's talk about football. Football schedule came out this week, and very exciting days ahead. Got the national champs coming in here this fall.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that schedule. I mean, as you look at it, when you add the Notre Dame game, which is going to be held down in MetLife Stadium, we actually have 7 games. We start off with Villanova, which a lot of people know are from the Big East, and they play a pretty good brand of football. And then you add to that Louisville, Florida State, Duke, and schools like that coming here to the Dome.
Yeah, Duke, obviously a team that played Florida State in the ACC Championship this past fall, so a very strong team down there, the Blue Devils. Those are the home games that we have to look forward to. I also noticed in the first half of the season, you only leave the state border once. That's to go to Central Michigan. Obviously, Central Michigan is going to be coming here a couple times in the future. Yes,
we actually did a 2-for-1 with Central Michigan, where they'll come here for 2 games, and we'll go there for 1. And obviously, Coach Schaefer and his staff are very familiar with Central Michigan, having played and coached in the MAC themselves. So we think that adds a couple things. And the other thing is we wanted balance in the schedule. You know, we sit down and beginning of the year, Dr. Gross, Coach Schaefer, Bob Brodsky, and myself, and they kind of give me my marching orders of what we need to be looking for. And then I get the opportunity to work the phones and make sure we make everything fall into place for us. And we're pretty excited about what's happening right now with our football program.
Yeah, should be. Maryland coming in. That's fun to kind of renew that rivalry. And you mentioned Villanova. It all starts August 30th here at the Carry Dome. That's football season. Now, a lot of basketball season left also. Orange on the road this Saturday, obviously next Wednesday, but we all know what's coming up next Saturday. It's the Duke Blue Devils coming here. Game day, 6:30 tip-off. I know, 35,000 tickets have been sold. And what are kind of the contingency plans for maybe getting close to 40? How are you going to fit them all in here?
Well, we have to cap it because the amount of people that we have in there, we have to worry about codes and everything else. We want everybody to be safe when they come to the game. Mm-hmm. So you want to hop to that Duke game, but we got to take care of Miami and Wake Forest before we get to that point.
I know.
But the thing is, the community here and what Coach Boeheim and his staff has put together with this basketball program is unbelievable. And for us to be a part of it, we just jump on and ride with it as well. But the Duke thing is going to be something unique, to have that many people on campus to experience Syracuse basketball is what you want. So if I'm a student athlete and I'm thinking about where do I want to matriculate as a young person, and if I'm a basketball player, Syracuse University in this area has to be high on your list.
Now there's a chance, we were just talking about it earlier, there's a chance if Storm comes in, they might have to move the Super Bowl up to Saturday night, and then it would conflict with Syracuse Duke. So we're going to have a lot of people setting their DVRs and all that. So hopefully we won't have to worry about that. It should be a super Saturday night here in a couple of weeks. Look forward to that. Thank you, Herm, for being here, and wish you were going to Miami, but maybe next time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. Herm Frazier, Associate Athletic Director here at Syracuse. The Orange basketball team needs to come back in the second half. Some highlights when we return. Whole lot of offense at the Carrier Dome. The Tigers' first trip to Syracuse. They're loving it so far. 45 points in the first half. As we take a look at the highlights, Clemson shooting 67% in the first half. George, Syracuse starting out strong inside. And you see Leary.
Exactly, and I still think with Leary in the game, they really create a different presence, and it helps open up shots for Butler like that if they worry about that. And there you see Dixon. Nice athlete, just a good basketball player. She hit the outside shot. She was able to penetrate and draw attention. And Butler really kept Syracuse in the game, actually, with those threes. I mean, it looked like Clemson was going to pull away. She hit some, and Clemson found all different ways to attack there. You could see that.
Now look at the shooting there. Clemson.
And they actually cooled off at 67%, right?
Averaging 4 threes a game. They had 5 in the first half. Second chance points, a big advantage for Syracuse on the offensive glass. And if not for that, Clemson could be way ahead.
Sure, they doubled their rebound actually there. But, you know, you look at Syracuse, only 39%. And, you know, I think that Butler's hit some outside shots, but they got to get a little more production out of Sykes because she's one of their big guns. And like you said, she's been off a little bit the last few games. See if she can't get it going a little better.
Yeah, Brittany Sykes just 3 points in the first half. She averages 17 per game. The Orange need to make up 3 points and then some in the second half as we return after this. Back at the Carrier Dome, Syracuse trailing Clemson in a bit of a surprise 45-42 at the half. Welcome back, everyone. Mark Larson, George Straub. Syracuse right in the middle of the pack so far in the ACC, still trying to kind of feel their way around this conference. And you're going to get a team like Clemson coming up and score 60 a game. All of a sudden they come out, you know, all guns blazing.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the things you don't know when you get in a new conference. You really don't know just by looking at people's stats and their results from the year before. You got to really get face-to-face to find out what it's all about.
They have been face-to-face with Duke already. The Blue Devils atop the conference, one of 3 unbeatens in the league so far. Syracuse has also played Maryland, and they will play them again. The bottom half of the league looking like that with the Clemson down there, but 6 teams in the top 25 in this league, 4 in the top 7. Obviously a lot of strength at the top of this league, but Syracuse is also finding out their strength throughout.
I think that happens in all those big conferences, men and women alike. You get top heavy with really good teams, and the good teams are so good, they're going to really ruin the records of the bottom teams.
Yes, but your RPI goes up just by playing them, so that's the good news. But Syracuse playing Clemson tonight needs to get something going in the second half. This is a loss that if they want to get the 20 wins before the conference tournament, they have to have games like this.
Well, it's kind of weird because they got back and got the lead, I believe, right?
Yes.
And you would have to think at that point Clemson might cave in, and you got them. Now Clemson bounced back a little, which was a good thing for them. But I still got to feel like Coach Q is probably a little unhappy with the first half performance, and we might see a couple adjustments.
Maybe more than a little. 45 points they've given up in the first half. Syracuse tries to put the clamps on Clemson when we return for the second. Clemson Tigers are 8-0 when leading at the half, and 5-0 in games decided by 6 points or less. A couple of indications that this could be a good night for the Tigers as they start out the second half with the ball and throw it away immediately as Isabella Slim on the floor. And a held ball called, possession error in favor of Syracuse.
It was that half-court track. You know, Dixon had such a great half for Clemson. She just, 13 points, 8 assists. Boy, does that jump out, 8 assists. And you know, when you play zone, it's tough to, say, hey, we got to stop her because she's all over the place against that zone.
She had as many assists as Syracuse did as a team. Leary missing inside, and Sykes' second chance point opportunity also missing. Brittany just 3 points in the first half.
She has such good vision. I watched her throw a couple of those cross-court passes. I'm talking about Dixon now against Syracuse, and I thought they were bad passes, but she found some nice seams. She really can see the court well.
Nikki Dixon, the ACC Player of the Week last week. First for Clemson since 2005 as she fires a deep three. Front rim, Gaillard just left the layup short on the reload try.
Almost like timid on that putback. She didn't want to, I think she was hearing footsteps. Didn't try to find the glass at all.
Butler also front rimming her three try. And that was last touched by the Orange. Coach Q pleading with his players.
When they're in the 1-2-2 half-court trap again. This really bothered Clemson. Now they had a halftime to dissect it and figure it out, see what they do.
Game 6 of the ACC season for the Orange. Hosting Clemson tonight. Mark Larson, George Straub at the Carrier Dome. Good to have you with us. Syracuse 8-1 on their home floor. The only loss this year to the #3 team in the country at that time, the Duke Blue Devils, who could win the national championship. Now Dixon again.
Didn't look
almost
good
the same
that
spot. And the rebound finally pulled down by Chancey Dunn.
Well, right off this half the bat, you see that Clemson a little cool right away.
They only had one offensive rebound in the entire first half.
I think they're 0 for 3 from the field in this half to start out. Total opposite. I think their first 5 shots went in the first half.
Continue the weave, and now 3 to shoot. Dunn is fouled with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
This is what we thought we were going to see. Clemson holding the ball, working the clock, bogging this game right down to like maybe this would be the final score. 45-42 would be what they'd be happy to win it. And now we're seeing it in the second half. And maybe they figured they can't go blow to blow, toe to toe with Syracuse's offense for a whole game.
Now Chancey Dunn has to burn a timeout as they could not get the ball inbounds. So Audra Smith will talk things over. Brought her entire staff with her from UAB as she tries to turn this Clemson program around. We'll talk more about that when we return to the Carrier Dome.
Syracuse University women's basketball on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Drivers Village. Visit driversvillage.com today. And by Nice and Easy Grocery Shops.
Shaquille Leary in the orange, trying to come back from a 3-point deficit. Neither team has scored here in the second half so far.
Yeah, just a real slowdown so far the first couple minutes of the second half. And again, Clemson here working the ball, a little deflection on that one. Nice shot by Lindsay.
Chelsea Lindsay puts home the first 2 of the second half.
Everybody just kind of sagged back, ball bounced right back to her. I love those when you want to shoot at that little mid-range jump shot.
So going back to the first half, an 8-1 run for Clemson. Now Sykes gets her way to the basket, draws the foul.
And that's her routine right there. Let her pound it on the floor and take it to the hole.
Second personal foul, team foul number 1 in the second half.
All right, so Brittany Sykes to the free throw line. Her second trip to the stripe. She was 1 for 2 on her previous trip there. And she has the first for her 4th point of the night.
You know, that's what's nice about when you've recruited well like Syracuse has. You get Sykes, who's your big scorer, your big player. She's having, she's not getting involved. I'm not saying she's having a bad game. She's just not involved as much as, offensively she might normally be. She's got other people to pick up the pieces.
And the defense arrived in time to force the miss by Sade Chapman. Now Sykes quickly the other way. And
Nice
she'll get
bounce.
the home court roll.
Out and running. That's her game. When Syracuse starts to run and she's out and running, that's where she really can hurt you.
She's got all 4 for Syracuse here in the second half.
Boy, Clemson to me is in a tough spot. Do they want to now try? It's like a team holding it in the end of the game, pulling it out. Do you want to pull it back after you had such a great first half and you're going to now milk clock and try to sit on the ball a little bit? Maybe you lose your edge.
Do you see any adjustments Syracuse has made in the second half that have slowed them down a bit? 2 to shoot for Dixon, and she gets the bounce Well, the foul.
Right there, they're guarding her man-to-man. They're all over Dixon. Slim is on her. She chased her from corner to corner, so I'm not sure whether that was a man or a box. I didn't pick it up. I don't know if you did. I know that Slim was on her, from corner to corner. When you see that, you've got man principles or you've got a box going on.
Junior had a career-high 29 points and 11 rebounds against Pittsburgh for her first career double-double. She's closing in on her second, 16 points, 8 assists for Dixon as she returns the lead to 4, and Taylor Ford comes off the Syracuse bench.
Clemson playing man.
Sykes seems like she has her mind made up to get herself more involved.
Well, I'm sure they talked about that at halftime, to get her involved, and that's a good thing.
Another offensive rebound for Syracuse. They've scored 17 second chance points, and they pulled back within 2.
And they're back in the press, zone press. See what they drop back into at half court.
Dixon will back it out.
That's back into a 2-3, I believe. So
yeah, Clemson was getting a lot of interior looks.
Yeah, in the first half. Yes, they were. And she created a lot, Dixon, because she dribble, and then dish.
Larry pulls down her 8th rebound. She nears another double-double. Now Sykes a little step back on the baseline. Maybe not the shot Q wanted.
See, no intent to run. So you see Dixon pull it back. Okay, bring it back, take it out. Let's not get into a running contest with Syracuse. That's what you're seeing right there.
The Tigers came out and hit their first 5 3-point shots. Were just absolutely on fire to start this game. Up by as many as 12 in the first half. Syracuse a 16-2 run to take the lead back. And look at Dixon.
Going to call an
offensive push-off.
Would that basket have been good? I think it beat the buzzer, didn't it?
I believe it did, yes. But wave it off, so the lead stays at 2 for the Tigers. 16:37 left. Make it 15:06 left here in the Cuse. Syracuse quarterback Terrell Hunt taking it in as the Orange host the Clemson Tigers. He, of course, did not have his successful night against the Clemson Tigers back here in the Carrier Dome back in October, but hoping his Orange women's team can knock off the Tigers. Clemson in some foul trouble. You talk about Audra Smith, what she's brought from UAB. She won 7 games her first year, 14 her second, and 19 in her third season, made it to the WNIT. So biggest thing she said she learned from that experience was that it takes time. She was at UAB for 9 years. This is her first season at Clemson, and you can't get impatient when you're trying to kind of rebuild a program, rebuild the whole mentality around it. She's had to see a few players, a couple of starters from last year's team not on the roster anymore, so she's had to make a few changes and tinkering with the starting lineup. Still trying to find the right 5.
Well, you got to establish what you consider to be your style and your tradition, and then you got to recruit. Let's face it. I mean, you got to get your recruiting inroads all set up and your staff, and that takes time too. Unless you get lucky right off the bat and get somebody good.
On the run, Sykes for the lead. Left it short, but Ford plus the foul.
See, even though that was a wild shot by Sykes, it's good because Syracuse is running the floor a little better than Clemson. They got people right there to get the rebound. Good position. They got Clemson outmanned right there. They got him out of position.
16 offensive rebounds for Syracuse. Taylor Ford trying to complete the three-point play. Ford has 12. Make it 13 to lead the Orange. And now that is 20 points. Second chance points for Syracuse as they have retaken the lead.
Well, when they're out rebounding you on the offensive glass, 15-4, that tells you where you're going to get a lot of your points.
Nice job by Quinata Petaway to put that one home softly off glass.
Quick breakaway.
Petaway, one of the all-time shot blockers and rebounders in Clemson history, just a junior. 8 points in the game.
See if she can block this one. Nope, she didn't get a chance.
Butler wide open outside. Followed her shot, shovels it. And the foul called against Clemson will send Brittany Sykes back to the free throw line.
Exact. Watch this. Nice dish by Butler. To her running mate Sykes. Brittany to Brittany.
2 shots coming for Brittany Sykes.
So Brittany Sykes just 3 points in the first half. Now has 5 here in the second half, helping lift the Orange in the opening minutes of the half.
With all the breeze, Brittany's and Brianna's must be practice. They got to get some nicknames floating around out there. Keep the coaches able to identify one from the other.
Yeah, I would think it would get confusing.
Replacing Chancey Dillon.
They try to lob it inside for Leary.
Yep.
Coffee able to recover.
Worked in the first half. That defender got a hand on that one. Broke it up.
So Rachel Coffey will back it out. Senior from Kingston, New York, number 10 on the all-time assist list at Syracuse. 0 for 4 from the floor against Pittsburgh. Coffey now left open. Back rim. Dixon with the rebound at midcourt.
She wanted to run with that one. She was trying to run before she gathered it in.
So now the Tigers chance to tie it up or take the lead. Jamison Myers,
Nice move.
nice reverse. Freshman cuts it, or ties it up rather, at 54.
Isn't it funny how three-point shooters have a hard time with those little floaters in close? Nice
Dixon on the
pass.
run, hands off to Jamison Myers, blew the layup. And now Taylor Ford hits the floor, but a foul called against Syracuse.
Now, nice pass by Dixon to Jamison Myers, and she misses that one. She made the tough one the last time off, using the back door. Couldn't get it that time.
Well, no foul call, just last touch by the Orange. Jamison Myers missing another layup inside. Butler to her buddy Sykes for 3. Brittany Sykes, only her second 3 of the season.
Leads 57-54.
And the Orange now lead by 3. Sykes was 1 for 7 for the year from outside the arc. Petaway, a little baby hook on the run.
Nice touch.
Quinata into double figures. Did not play the last 2 games, only 1 start this season. For, again, someone who's had a lot of success blocking shots and rebounding. But again, that's part of the change that Big A, Coach Smith, has brought to Clemson.
Well,
trying to instill, some discipline, some work ethic, and send some messages with how she takes her to the starting lineup.
got to do it. I think Ford got nailed there on the pick, and you see Sykes with that nice 3. Boost her confidence a little.
We'll be back here in a couple of weeks as the Orange host the Hokies from Virginia Tech. It's a 7 o'clock tip. 2 weeks from tonight, Thursday the 6th, right here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Orange have retaken the lead. They trailed by 3 at the half. Now leading by 1 over Clemson, 11:32 to play. Brittany Sykes with 10 points in the second half for Syracuse, 10 of their 15 after scoring just 3 in the first half. She has been the catalyst.
But Clemson just won't go away, though, offensively. They're playing a little different tempo than they played in the first half. But they're finding success.
Chancey Dunn driving. Missed the short one, gets a second chance at it and barely drew iron. And now the held ball, and the Tigers will keep it with exactly 11 minutes left.
You know what's always tough about milking the shot clock, so to speak, is that it seems like more than half the time you wind up with a frantic shot where you really had to take one you didn't want.
Well, they have freed up Jamison Myers on that inbounds play a few times tonight, and they do it again, plus the foul. Naila Jamison Myers now into double figures with a free throw coming. And the Tigers a perfect 5 for 5 at the free throw line tonight. Syracuse has shot 17 free throws and made 14 of them.
It's hard to say that you're getting a homer, you know, from the officials, because it's ACC officials who Syracuse has never had. I mean, if it was the old Big East and they were coming there, you might say you were getting jobbed. But you can't really say that.
Shaquille Leary picks up the foul as she was holding on to Quinata Petaway. So the Tigers again will keep possession. Now leading by 1.
Their confidence pretty good in coming in here. They're not really backing off. Syracuse in the 2-3 zone. Patient, very patient against it.
Well, the Tigers are looking inside like they did in the first half, but they're not seeing any passing lanes. That one off the hands of Chapman.
And she's mad at herself. I think she figures she should have had that one. If she caught it, she was going to get a good shot. Point blank shot.
Only the 10th turnover committed by Clemson, protecting a 1-point lead. Peterson throws it off the foot of the Tigers.
Tough to catch it with your ankles.
Turnover number 7 for Syracuse. Chapman inside, had it blocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Tigers.
One pass too many by Petaway. Petaway had the little flip shot over the rim, and she just chose to pass it. And then you get 2 defenders on the shooter there. And, you went from an open shot to a double team shot.
Taylor Ford with the swat for the Orange. Now 10 on the shot clock and 10 minutes on the game clock. Petaway throws it in with a right hand.
Their inside players are doing well. Again, they always seem to do well when Larry's out of the game, though. Seems to be
it might be a correlation there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a drop-off, even though the girls that are in there from Syracuse now, tall, got good range, good defensive skills. Just doesn't make sense, but it's happening.
Butler got an open look and missed, and Brianna Butler, who had 3 threes in the first half, has been ice cold here in the second. Petaway again, and this time draws the foul on Brianna Day.
Yeah, she's got good movement with both hands, and so she's able to get Day out of position and use her footwork to get around her.
The only senior on the Clemson roster. They do have a grad student. Came into this game with 98 career blocks, 598 career rebounds, 10th and 12th all time at Clemson. Cornelia Fondren replacing Brittany Sykes.
She's having a nice offensive second half, though.
Did not get the roll on the second. First free throw miss for the Tigers, and the ball squirts out to Chelsea Lindsay.
Almost that mistake of saving the ball into your opponent's offensive end. Ford hurt. He doesn't. He's limping around. He's going to have to come out probably.
Number 15, Yella Jamison Myers for Clemson, and in for Syracuse, number 10, Isabella Slim.
See Ford stumble out of bounds, and the save, if it was caught by Clemson inside, they could have got a nice shot out of that one. So Syracuse dodged a bullet. You see her limping there. Probably the old ankle. #1 injury in basketball.
Leads the team with 13 points tonight, and co-leading the team off the bench. So a significant player for the Orange to lose at this point. Trapping at half court, almost forcing the turnover, but foul called on Slim, and that is her 4th.
Syracuse is getting into foul trouble early here in the second half. The fouls are mounting.
The 7th team foul already with 9:10 left, so free throws the rest of the way for the Tigers. Tigers have scored 7 straight points since the three-pointer by Brittany Sykes.
This game is just weird in terms of momentum.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah, you think one team's finally got it going, and then they just ebb back, like you say, fall backwards a little bit, and Syracuse is falling back, and you can see them working on Ford over there. It's her left ankle that looks like they're going to try and strap it up a little bit, tightening it up.
1 out of 2 for Jamison Myers, and a travel called after Dixon pulled down the offensive rebound. Well, they have certainly been crashing the offensive glass more than they did in the first half, Clemson.
Yes.
They have scored 8 straight points now to take a 5-point lead with 9 to play. Brittany Sykes has been hot in the second half. Brianna Butler has gone stone cold.
That's a big run on the road. When you're on the road in somebody else's place, where Syracuse has been, by the way, like 1 loss in the last how many games here? And you make you get behind and then you make a run like that in the second half. That's pretty good.
Brianna Day fouled inside.
Makes the move. Probably wishes she really could have finished that off. She had a little body language there. Disappointed with herself for not finishing, but make the 2 free throws and that'll help an awful lot.
Missed the first. Syracuse now 14 of 18 at the free throw line. Second one coming for Day. Got it. Lead down to 4.
This looks like a 2-1-2 half court here. They've shown some different looks to confuse Clemson. 10 seconds.
Just did not get it across midcourt in time, apparently. So Coach Q trying to maybe pick the tempo up a little bit. Well, the game was back and forth,
not too happy with that because the ball was almost top of the circle when the whistle blew. It wasn't. Usually when the whistle blows, it's right on the line or just getting over. And that was, tough one to take if you're Clemson.
The scoring pace has slowed considerably for the first half as Fondren got to the basket, missed it. And that one last touched by Syracuse.
Again, it's one of those deals where you say did everything but make it. Got it right down the lane, got it off the glass soft, and somehow it didn't drop.
All the way across court to Gramlich, and she missed.
She's really good at that. She did that a lot in the first half. She had those sneaky little off the dribble passes inside, and then she's got that cross-court pass down pretty good.
And Kelly Gramlich,
Number 22, Taylor.
a cold stretch continuing for the Clemson sharpshooter. She's made one of her last 19 threes, but Quinata head away. Big first half. Back inside the carry dome, Coach Q letting his team have it, down by 4. Orange trail by 3 at halftime. They retook the lead, but now find themselves trailing again. That kind of game.
Yeah, you give Clemson a lot of credit, as I said, you know, to withstand that and come back and get the lead on the road. And if you're looking at Syracuse's angle in this game, it's like, I think Syracuse just feels like they can't get over the hump. They get there and they can't get control of this game where they want it.
Inside layup made Nikki Dixon. She has a game-high 18 points.
Tigers win 64-58.
You know, Syracuse has had those defensive breakdowns. Allowed some easier shots.
And now a 10-1 run. Ford trying to snap it. Can't do it. Dixon with the rebound. She has 7 rebounds, 8 assists. And 18 points, nearing a triple-double.
Yeah, getting right on the verge of it, isn't she? Although she had 8 assists at halftime, which was really good. She's not had the opportunity in this half.
Well, it was almost number 9. Fondren runs it down and throws it off the feet of Kelly Gramlich.
Syracuse, I think, if you watch the way it's been going, has been searching for what they think is the best combination offensively and defensively. Used a lot of people in the lineup to try and get it going.
But boy, since that 3 made by Brittany Sykes, they have not had a field goal. Gave them a 3-point lead. Here's Day trying to back in, and she banks it home.
It could have been a call there. There was contact, but the officials just let it go. No call.
Well, Syracuse finally puts the ball in the basket.
Clemson has done a better job this half. A couple early turnovers, but since then has done a better job handling this half-court trap of Syracuse's.
Chancey Dunn missing. Sykes the other way. Gets the roll. Brittany Sykes a chance for a 3-point play.
That's her game. She just seems so much better in the open court, doing this, making the finish in the open court. Nice athletic move up in the air. Tough shot because she's going to her left and coming back with her right hand. Tough shot, but that's her stuff. Get her out in the open court, and that's where she excels.
Well, after going almost 6 minutes without a basket, Syracuse now has made its last 2 shots, and a 3-point play by Sykes cuts it to 1. When you can go almost 6 minutes without a field goal and you're still down by 1, you have to consider yourself pretty fortunate. And the Orange forced the turnover. Coffey to the corner. Butler for 3. Got it! Her first field goal of the second half. And the Orange are back in front.
Well, with Leary, those are your 2 team leaders, basically. Even though they're young, they're your team leaders. Normally you say you go to the upperclassmen, the seniors, but these 2 girls, Sykes and Butler, 5 big points right there. Coming right back. And that's what you need. You need your big players to make big plays.
8 straight points scored by Syracuse, and now Brianna Butler with her 4th 3 tonight has 118 for her career. She is tied with Carmen Tyson Thomas for 7th on the all-time list. She's already passed Nicole Michael here this evening. But boy, she went into a real cold spell after coming out pretty hot from outside the arc. She's got 4 threes now. 14 points.
Wow, 4 for 15. Doesn't seem like she missed that many, does it?
Been all over the rim.
She's been cold, but...
And a traveling call as the Tigers are kind of imploding here offensively, turning the ball over again.
Well, the momentum has shifted again now. The Clemson cracked right there under some pressure. Got to take advantage if you're Syracuse and get a score right here. Get a score, get a foul. Or draw a foul, I should say.
5th turnover committed by Nikki Dixon. Day, tough shot.
Yeah.
Quinata Petaway with the block. Her 99th career swat.
She got herself in a dribble mode there where she wasn't using her size. Keep her in the paint, then the size is a factor. When she dribbles it out on the baseline and tries to shoot it almost from her hip, she brings it right down and doesn't take advantage of that long span.
So day out, Shaquille Leary back on the floor. Orange. Sykes missing inside. Now under 6 to go. Butler, a little floater. Leary, second chance. No, third chance for Taylor Ford, and she's back on the floor and back in the scoring column. 15 points off the bench now for Taylor Ford. And Syracuse a 10-0 run.
We got a foul. What was that whistle all about? See, Leary inside, keeps it alive with a soft shot, which enables Ford to penetrate and get the easy putback.
A new career high now for Taylor Ford, the sophomore from the Bronx, with 15.
Okay, a little problem with the clock there. And they decided there's 27 seconds left on the shot clock. It's good officiating to pick that up. Spend a lot of time trying to save those 3 seconds.
Largest lead of the game for Syracuse. Just a 4-point advantage. They trailed by 12 in the first half. Gramlich is now 1 for her last 20.
That was an unusual shot for the way the game has been going in the second half for Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson made 5 of its first 6 3-point tries. They have missed now their last 8 from downtown. Maybe they fell in love with that shot a little too much.
It's starting to level off in the end, right?
Last 10 points scored by the Orange. Butler had to change the shot, and she dumped it in anyway.
That's a feature of her game that they really wanted to work on, is to be able to put it on the floor and show something else besides just the sail with the 3. Not a good
pass knocked away by Ford.
Not a good decision by Dixon there. She was not open.
Butler again, front rim for the reload, and she'll go back to the free throw line.
She's had a good game for him. She's been there to retrieve those errant shots.
A career high for the Bronx native.
Nice left hand. She's got the position where she can get the shot off when she's on that side of the rim.
Ford already with 15 points off the bench.
That'll get you more playing time, won't it?
Cornelia Fondren going to replace Brianna Butler. Syracuse extending its run now, 12 straight points. Make it 13. And now 16 for Ford. Sykes also with 16. Butler also with 16. That's pretty good balance. And Coffey, the steal, and the layup.
Yeah, Clemson is coming unglued right now. Syracuse has got them right where they want them.
A 15-0 run for the Orange. And their largest lead, and another turnover committed by Clemson. And here's some of that youth coming back to haunt Coach Audra Smith. Coffey, nothing but net. And the Tigers need a timeout.
Everybody's on fire right now for Syracuse.
18-0 run.
Wow, that's the second big run they've had this game, right?
Yep, 16-2 in the first half after falling behind by 12.
Now nobody can find the handle for Clemson. And, well, that helps them.
Charge call, the first charge they've taken. They took 5 against Wake Forest. The Tigers piling up the turnovers.
Yeah, Cornelia Fondren, they're probably. You can see the attitude right now. Syracuse is, let's score quick, let's convert on the turnovers, but that one maybe should have pulled that back a little bit.
At the 4-minute mark, Syracuse with its largest lead at 12 after scoring the last 18, and Nikki Dixon finally ends the run. Dixon now with 21 points. She averages 20 in ACC play.
Yeah, she's a good one. Syracuse going to milk the clock a little now after that run, get a little rest. Don't lose your momentum though if you're Syracuse.
Ford will try a 3 and barely tickle the twine. Taylor Ford now with 19.
Everything is working for Syracuse.
21-3 run for Syracuse. They trailed 64-58. And they have just all of a sudden turned on the Jets. And when Syracuse reaches 70 points, they are 10-1 this season. And it did not look like for a while, George, that they would get to 70, or at least not to 80, like it looks like they're going to get to now.
It's an explosion. Just like I said, it's been a weird game in terms of momentum. The way Clemson was playing, you didn't think that they would come unglued like that, but they did. And give Syracuse a lot of credit. I mean, when it opened up a little bit of a crack and they started to, cave in against the pressure, they took advantage. They seized the opportunity. They weren't doing that early, but they did have those 2 big runs. And without those 2 big runs, they'd be in a whole bunch of trouble.
Clemson led for 24 minutes of this game. Syracuse has led for just less than 9 minutes, but right now up by 12 with 3.5 to go. Pretty comfortable cushion. So a 24-point swing after Clemson led by 12 in the first half.
Well, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go, Clemson is not going to be able to hold the ball and work it a long time anymore.
Gramlich still cold from out there. Offensive rebound for Dixon, and Fondry came back to take it away. She saw the pass coming and picked off another steal. That is the 20th turnover committed by Clemson. They only had 7 at halftime.
You suppose Syracuse using a lot of different players, that they've tired Clemson out a little bit? Do you think fatigue is a little factor?
I mean, that absolutely could be.
I mean, Dixon on that last pass was just you hate to say lazy, but it was kind of a sloppy, tired kind of a pass, which she didn't do at all in the first half.
And that will just sail out of bounds.
Same thing again. They look like they're just exasperated right now.
21 turnovers, 14 of them in the second half. Well, the first half, the Tigers had it going. And boy, in the last 7-8 minutes, it's been all orange. Tigers force the turnover and get the layup. Gramlich inside as Chelsea Lindsay came up with a steal. Only the 5th steal of the night for the Tigers. And now Sykes breaking the press. With a little more than 2 minutes left. Syracuse on an 18-0 run, erasing an 6-point deficit rather here in the second half to go up by 12 at one point. It's now at 10 as Coffey kills some clock.
A 1-4 setup. Everybody breaks high.
Couple of picks for Butler. Got to the basket. Left it short. But another offensive rebound. The 23rd of the night for Syracuse. Shaquille Leary, her 10th board. She'll head to the free throw line. She's already got her 5th double-double.
Boy, she gets good position inside. She's right there. To me, inside, she's kind of the rock that keeps them steady. Helps things go a lot. When with Ford in the game with her, Leary gets attention. She takes up space. She gets rebounds or soft shots, and Taylor Ford right there to swoop down and help out. Maybe sometimes take advantage of that nice little bounce.
Now 11 points, 10 rebounds for Leary.
Double-double.
Shut out against Pittsburgh. No points, 4 fouls in just 9 minutes. She has been a force here tonight. 5th double-double of the year. And the Orange with 4 players in double figures, led by Taylor Ford, 19 off the bench. Bench scoring for Syracuse, 32-18. It's been one of the big differences. And the Tigers have just struggled to score here in the second half. They had 45 at halftime as Chelsea Lindsay knocks down the 3. Lindsay coming in with a 4.0 average, George. That's not her grade point. That was her scoring average. She's above that.
They're going to have to foul, though. I mean, they can't let Syracuse burn 35 here, I wouldn't think.
Coffee again killing some time.
I wouldn't give them 35 off the clock, but they're going to.
Sykes fumbles the ball for a moment, gets it back to Butler. And a foul called on Sykes, I believe, as we go under a minute. And that will be free throws for Clemson.
Just the opposite of what you wanted. I would have thought that Clemson would have fouled, sent Syracuse to the line. Then when they did get possession back, if you're Syracuse, you really don't want to foul. Let them go, right?
Just when you think you know what's going to happen,
it goes the other way.
So Chelsea Lindsay to the free throw line.
Never let the other team gain on you with the shot, with the clock stop. That's the old motto.
Lindsay, the constant for Clemson, the only player who started all 20 games.
They're not out of it. I mean, you look right here, and if she makes this, they're 6. They're within 2 possessions, a minute to go. I mean, they're gonna press, and I would think this possession, if they don't get a steal or anything or the rebound, they're gonna foul.
Rebound number 11 pulled down by Leary, and a foul called in the backcourt.
Sure.
Rachel Coffey was 1 on 4. Lindsay picks up her 4th personal foul.
Yeah, you got to have maybe a designated fouler if you can get in the game, but maybe that's why Lindsay didn't want to foul the last possession. She knew she had 3. She didn't want to get her 4th. She got it anyway.
Rachel Coffey will be at the line shooting 1 plus the bonus.
So 1-1 for Coffey. 9th team foul on Clemson. And they got what they wanted. A miss. And a chance to pull within 4. Beautiful dump off by Lindsay to Jamison Myers. And it's a 5-point Syracuse lead with just under 46 seconds to go. That was too easy.
Yeah, it was easy. They only used up, see, that's what I'm saying. They only used up like 13 seconds. You say, well, what's the difference? Well, for Clemson, like I said earlier, they probably should have fouled a couple possessions ago to stop the clock. But then Syracuse committed the foul where they could have burned. Definitely made Clemson burn another extra 10 seconds. You'd be down to 30 seconds. So it adds up in the end.
You let Jamison Myers with 14 for Clemson. You look at what lies ahead for Syracuse, another home game with Virginia Sunday, and then it's at North Carolina, number 7 team in the national polls, then home with Maryland, another team that's in the top 10. At Notre Dame, of course, lies ahead also. That's another top-ranked team. So you got 3 top 10 teams in the next 6 for the Orange.
The only good news about going to Notre Dame is that Skylar Diggins, she was there about 30 years. Well, I mean, she was there forever.
I think she's gone.
She's gone.
Finally.
Yeah.
And for Clemson, back home with Miami. A couple more road games. Georgia Tech and Virginia, then home with Duke. The Blue Devils still reigning atop the ACC.
It's not easy in the ACC. It's just, as we saw at halftime, we looked at the top and the bottom. And it's so hard for those bottom teams to get going when they got to face, you know. That's what I think it's a drawback of the huge leagues. You know, so many. It's so hard for the bottom. Look at the Big East and the men's, how it's been traditional almost now, the bottom teams. They can't climb out of the cellar. It's too deep.
Another foul committed by Clemson. That is number 10. So 2 shots now for Rachel Coffey.
Syracuse will be in the double bonus.
She's a 71% career foul shooter.
She stroked that 3 there a couple of possessions ago. Looked really nice on it. So, you know, now you start looking at possessions. 5 is a 2-possession game. she makes this next one, she jacks it to a 3-possession game for Clemson to get back in, which is big.
Orange now 19 of 26 from the foul line. 20 of 27. Big free throws for Coffee. The lead at 7. Dixon behind the screen. And Leary picks up her 12th rebound. Now Sykes running. 3-on-1. Backs it out instead.
What would you do? What would you want there? 3-on-1, would you want the sure two, or would you want the time off?
I think I'd take the sure two. It looks like that's what Coach Q wanted also.
Yeah, I think I would take it too. Now you've got it up. You got it up to 9. You make them burn clock coming back because they're going to foul you within a couple of seconds anyway. So you're not getting much more out of it. You might as well get. Now you've missed the free throw, so there you go. Looks easy now to say that, I guess. But I always like the sure two.
Yeah, Sykes a big second half too. 13 of her 16 in the second half, but gave up the 2 there, and then Coffee missed both. So the lead still at 7. 14 seconds left, and a charge called on Chelsea Lindsay. That's her 5th.
That's it for her.
So Sykes makes up for the, pulling the ball back and gets the turnover on the other end.
Well, she doesn't. That's a risky play right there to try. Because if you don't get the call, you're
That's
stopping the clock
foul,
again.
And 2 shots.
Yeah, but I'm not blaming her for the pulling it out because it's not a bad play that she did. I'm just saying it's one of those 50-50 things, where one coach might want it one way and the other might want it. You can argue it, I guess. But I think those are the things you want your team to know. Every coach is different. And that's your style. That's your imprint on the team. This is what I want. We've talked about this in practice, and here's what we're going to do. So if Coach Q said that to her and wants her to do that, then she knows. But if not, she did the right thing. No problem.
Well, Clemson scored well above its season average, 45 points in the first half. They're right back at their season average here in the second half, scoring 30. They averaged 60 coming in. Syracuse with 40 second half points, including 18 in a row.
Didn't look like it the way it started out, did it?
And a home run pass to Sykes as she knocks home the layup to seal this one. Brittany Sykes with 18 points,
on it, huh?
15 in the second half. And a comeback win for the Cuse. 84-75 the final. Syracuse trailed by 12 in the first half. Ends up winning by 9. Now 2-0 all-time against the Clemson Tigers, and 3-3 in their first season in the ACC. Coach Q had to sweat out some hot shooting in that first half, George. And even in the second half, down by 6, it looked like Clemson had all the momentum, and Syracuse just turned it all around. So a 9-point victory for the Orange. They are 9-1 here at the Carrier Dome this season, and we will hear from the victors when we return. Syracuse comes back to beat Clemson 84-75, erasing a 12-point first-half deficit to move to 3-3 in the ACC. Let's take a look at our player of the game. Brought to you by Drivers Village. Visit driversvillage.com today. Taylor Ford, the sophomore from the Bronx. 30 minutes off the bench and a new career-high 19 points. She also had 8 rebounds to help the Orange survive the Tigers. And now Taylor on the court with our George Strong.
Taylor, great game. I got to ask you again. They came out so hot. It had, you know, and in the first half couldn't miss a shot. At halftime, was there a little discussion about defense?
Definitely. They were shooting about 60% from the field and about 67% from the three-point line. So coach emphasized a lot on getting out on the shooters and shrinking our defense and just talking in the high post shots.
I noticed you like to take that three, but you did a lot of damage inside. You feel like you had a little more comfort zone inside tonight?
Yes, I think I'm a really good rebounder, so I just crashed the boards really hard, and I got open shots, and I got rebounds, and I helped my team out a lot.
And I think what finally won it for you was a little bit of that defense. You got them rattled at the end. Did you feel like you finally got over the hump there towards the end?
Definitely. I think we didn't come out as sharp as we usually did, and about end of the second half, intensity started picked up, and we did a great job on steals and just finishing at the end.
Well, great job, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, George. And we're now joined by the head coach of the Orange, Quentin Hillsman. Coach Q, you make it interesting. Your team does anyway. Very exciting for us. We appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad you guys are having fun. Yeah. You know, it's the battle of having a young team. We have a lot of young players on the floor playing big minutes for us, and that's just going to be an up and down battle the entire year until they grow up a little bit.
What was your message at halftime, if you can keep it clean for us, after giving up 45 in the first half?
I just told them that they just play with a lot of heart, and we act like we didn't want to be here. And you can't come into these conference games and not have the proper intensity. I thought that we just didn't come out strong. I don't know what the reason was, but we just came out really flat, and we got to do a better job of just coming out playing early in games. We haven't had that problem much, but tonight we really ran into it tough.
How good was it to see Brittany Sykes also? Big second half, 15 points in the second half. You kind of wanted her to get going again. Your sophomore, you know, what's the story with her?
Well, teams are game planning for her now, and she has to understand when you're the top person on somebody's scouting report, they're gonna sit on all your strengths and force you to your weaknesses. And now what they're doing is they're sprinting the lane and forcing her to shoot pull-ups, and she has to take the shot and make it, but she still got to continue to attack the rim and be aggressive.
All right, well, very good. Nice win for you, Coach. You're a third of the way through the ACC. I know it's a long season, 12 more games to go, but congratulations and good luck in your next one against Virginia.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Coach Quentin Hillsman. He's got the Quentin shirt on with the stitching right there on the cuff. Very nicely done. As you take a look at the final numbers from this one, and you know, Clemson started out shooting 70-some%. They cooled off considerably as they ended up at 52%. Still a pretty good percentage offensively for a team that doesn't score a lot. Rebounding, the total numbers not big in favor of Syracuse, but 23 offensive rebounds leading to 25 second chance points, George. That was something we talked about.
Yeah, you look at it right there. You know, well, Clemson did a little better job in the second half with that, but you know, I think it was a steadying influence the whole game for Syracuse to be able to control the paint. But the big difference to me, you know, was when they got that pressure going, the last push where they really kind of dismantled Clemson offensively, and they made them force everything up, and that was the last push that finally did it.
Yeah, Clemson had 27 assists on 30 field goals, but they also had 22 turnovers, 15 of those in the second half. As the Orange pulled it out, our play of the game is brought to you by the Nice and Easy Grocery Shops. Rachel Coffey, the steal. And Brianna Butler, one of her 4 threes. Butler finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And a big dagger there for the Orange. An 18-0 run to take the lead for good and hang on to win it. So, you know, 3-3 in the conference now. Syracuse has kind of, you know, passed a few tests and kind of seeing what this whole conference is all about.
Yeah, I think you're right. Pass the test. It's any win they get each time in the ACC, I think makes them feel a little more comfortable, like they belong, and maybe send out some warning signs.
Well, next up, the Virginia Cavaliers coming in on Sunday, and then a trip to North Carolina, Tobacco Road coming up next week. We'll be back here in 2 weeks for Virginia Tech. Our final score once again, Syracuse 84, Clemson 75. Our next Syracuse women's telecast 2 weeks from tonight when the Hokies come to the Carrier Dome. That is a 7 o'clock tip. Hope you can plan to be with us. For my partner George Straub and the entire crew, I'm Mark Larson saying so long from Syracuse. This has been a presentation of Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.